The city of EverBright has been under siege by a gathering of orcs in the nearby tribes. Your forces have been stretched thin, the whole city lost to the horde. Rain pours down as buildings burn. You have barely made it to the throne room, the door barricaded behind you. The two guards attempting to unblock a passageway to the north, which collapsed, are all that's left of the city's once valiant force. Pacing around the throne is Sim Vanan, of the House Vanan, the king of EverBright. He is elated to see your group, and beseeches your help to fend off the orc horde until the passageway is cleared and he can escape. The entrance to the throne room thumps as the invaders strike against it.
Well, we're stirred in a pickle, eh?
This ought to be interesting.
At least we made it thus far.
The barricade to the door does not look like it will hold on for much longer. The king suggests that you take position.
Would it be possible for me to run up to the front of the door and lay down a couple tracks?
You may not have time for that.
Alright. Sweet. Stand behind me, I say. I'll, unsheath my sword and brace myself with my shield.
Alright,
I do
I'll
the
move a
same.
few back. Off to the side so I have clear line of sight of the door.
I was gonna say, if I was up by the king, is that higher than the floor
Yes.
level? Okay.
Yes, the steps are a bit higher than the main floor.
And then the spacing on the grid is how much?
5 feet per square.
I'll take out a throwing dagger and ready in action to attack whatever comes to that door.
I'll move up a bit.
I'll move back just a hair here.
With one final thump, the barricade gives way as a small group of 5 kobolds and 3 orcs stream in ahead of the rest. You hear the clattering and snickering of the kobolds as they fan around the room, and the orcs take the middle, as they sound a large war cry as they begin charging. Go ahead and roll for initiative.
Might want to,
How do I do that?
Click your token, go to your character sheet, and then click initiative. You have to click your token first.
Oh,
yeah, totally forgot to do that, my bad. I got a 4 on mine. I don't know if I can change it. Nope, I can.
Alright, so I see 1, 2.
Wait,
I see 2 people's initiatives.
There we go.
Yep, the big thing is that you have to click your token first.
Yep.
Okay, so click the token.
Yep, and then on your character sheet, click initiative. Right in the middle, at the top. Alright, let me go ahead and order that. It begins with one of the goblins charging past the heavily armed fighter. You get a choice of an attack if you'd like to take it.
yes, I will.
Go ahead and roll for it.
Do I just click on whatever's on the sheet?
Yes, whichever weapon you would like to use.
Okay.
That hits. As the goblin attempts to dash past you, you swing your sword in a horizontal arc. And go ahead and roll for your damage. Just click longsword in the chat. The goblin does not get past you as your single strike sends it sprawling across the ground. And it lays on the floor, unmoving.
Good shot.
After that, the goblins seem to hesitate, and you seem to have an opening, fighter.
Alright. Let me see here.
Are those torches or just or pillars that they're standing behind?
Pillars with torches on this side, on all 4 sides to light up the throne room.
Okay.
Ah! Gently shrunk my window. I'm going to... Let's see. I have 30-foot movement. Let's see. Oh, wrong button.
Each square is 5 feet.
Yeah. I'm just checking distance for me.
Alright.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Alright, what will you do?
I am making a 5-foot step to in between the pillars.
Alright.
And I'm going to breath weapon them.
Breath weapon,
Nice.
okay. What is the range on your breath weapon?
That's what I was checking. I need to bring the book up.
Which dragonflight did you choose?
Green.
Green? I think that's a 5-foot by 30-foot line? Or is that a cone?
Cone.
Cone, okay.
If it's a cone, then I believe it's a 15-foot cone.
Yep, 15 feet by 15 feet. So you would hit everybody except for the 2 orcs, unless you took one more step forward. Well, from where you are right now, you'd only hit the 3 goblins. If you took one more step forward, you would hit the middle, and if you took 2 more steps forward, you would hit everybody.
Yes, but 2 steps puts me at risk of being surrounded.
Correct.
1 step puts me at risk of being surrounded.
Okay. So you unleash your breath weapon as a cloud of acid streams from you, hitting the 3 goblins in the front. And your DC is 13, correct?
Yes.
The green's actually a con save.
Oh, my bad. So that would just be taking 2 away from all of those. 2 of the goblins go down instantly as they're sputtering and coughing as it enters their lungs, burning their skin all over. The one on the one to the north just barely manages to get away from the main brunt of it. And the cleric, seeing all the goblins, gets ready to make his move.
So I just click and drag to move, correct?
Yes.
How do you do the line thing again to check distance?
Ruler tool.
There is a ruler on the top left side of the screen. Then you just click that and then click and drag.
Oh, right.
Sweet.
Alright, I'm gonna move up right behind the fighter.
Okay.
And I'm gonna use...
You put your hand on your holy symbol as a small ring of holy energy surrounds the fighter, protecting him from any incoming blows.
Right. And yeah, that's it.
The warlock, seeing the cleric move up to support the fighter, looks towards the enemies.
I'm going to see if I can disrupt their formation a little bit.
And how do you plan on doing that?
I'm going to target the orc in the center and cast Shatter.
Shatter, okay, what does that do?
Shatter is a 10-foot radius con saving throw against thunder damage.
Thunder damage, okay. And what is the damage on that? Oops.
Oh!
Constitution saving throw, okay.
Half damage on successful save.
Oh man. You reach out one of your arms as a swirl of blue surrounds it. A single bolt of energy arcs over, slamming directly into the orc in the middle, sending them all sprawling, and none of them begin to move again. You look out toward... The first attacker is laid dead, and you look out towards the front of the city, seeing hundreds of orcs crowding around the entrance. They are chanting something in Orcish.
Can I understand what it says?
Do you speak Orcish, or does anyone here speak Orcish?
I do speak Orcish.
You hear it as an orc battle cry. You keep hearing the name Urugar over and over, and you remember that Urugar is the main chief of the orcs, and he leads these tribes. After hearing the constant name of Urugar, you hear thundering steps approach. A large orc, towering over all the others, steps out, wielding a large, jagged greatsword. He speaks in Orcish. Your city is lost, your defenders are slain, and no resistance is left. All that stands now is you. With your deaths, the city will truly be ours. I, Urugar, chief of these orcs, will strike the famous king of EverBright down myself, and this city will belong to us. As he ends his speech, the orcs behind him let out a battle cry as Urugar steps into the room, his greatsword at the ready and followed by two orcs, geared in ritual garb. I'm just going to clear the initiative real quick. And go ahead and roll for initiative one more time. The orcs of the north begins by charging, quickly dashing around the defenders, making all the way. He gets his sword to the ready, but can't seem to get it down in time. The orc chieftain slowly steps forward. He challenges the fighter to one-on-one combat, and he makes two swift attacks with his greatsword. The fighter dodges the first one, but the second one hits him cleanly in his shoulder. And that deals 12 points of slashing damage.
Ouch.
The second orc, like the first one, attempts to dash around the defenders. It makes it up almost to the throne room. The cleric, seeing the fighter in distress, makes his move.
Alright, let's see. I'm gonna use Healing Word on the fighter.
You utter an incantation as a green glow surrounds the fighter, attaching itself to the wound which the greatsword struck, healing him for 7 points of damage. And that was a bonus action, so you still do have your standard action.
Right, let's see. Alright, I move next to the orc chieftain.
Okay.
And then I use my warhammer.
Your warhammer clangs against the warchief's greatsword as he deftly swipes it aside.
Yeah, that's it.
The chieftain's attention appears to be on the cleric, rather than the fighter, who is now looking him down. And it is the fighter's turn.
I'm reading through things here.
Alright.
And how do you select a target?
Let's see, select a target for what? Just a regular attack?
For a spell or attack, yeah.
You just say who you're attacking. You can kind of ping the map if you hold left click while you have the selecting tool out.
Okay.
Yes, like that.
Okay. So let's see. This ugly mug has his side to me. I'm gonna flat out strike him. You turn your back to me, you made a big mistake.
Alright, go ahead and try. He manages to react just in time, ducking under a white slash.
Alright.
And to our warlock, an orc is now barreling down on you. How do you react?
Ooh, well, I can't use my big spell anymore. Let's see. I'm going to see if I can knock him out, maybe. I'm going to focus an Eldritch Blast on him.
Okay. Go ahead and...
Oops, sorry, that's just one.
5. In the middle of his attack, before he can reach up to attack with his sword, with his great axe, you put your hand up to his shoulder and unleash a blast of eldritch energy, dealing 5 points of force damage, slightly stumbling him.
Can I still use my movement action? Because he hasn't engaged me?
If you move away from him, you would take one attack of opportunity as he sees his chance.
Okay, I will stay where I am then.
Okay. An orc is barreling down on the warlock, and the chieftain is in combat with 2 of your frontline fighters. What do you do, ranger?
Can I drop the dagger that I was holding ready to shank someone from ranged and draw my rapier?
You can.
And still attack?
Yes.
Okay. Then I'll do that. Yeah. Let's see. Whoops. Double click there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'll use my bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark.
Okay. You do
And
that.
I'll target the orc right in front of me, and then I'll attack him with my rapier.
Go ahead.
Oh!
A critical hit.
Nice.
The orc, not paying
Sweet.
attention to you, as you run up, you send the rapier straight through his midsection, dealing a total of 16 points of damage, bypassing any armor defenses he has.
Does,
You send him to the ground, and he seems to not move.
Does Hunter's Mark also get doubled on critical hits? I forget.
I do not think so.
Alright, hold on. There we go. Alright, and let's see. I still have, as a wood elf, I've got 5 feet of movement left, so I'll go right here.
Or you do that.
Hmm?
The orc chieftain is still fighting, as well as the orc barreling down on the warlock. What do you do, wizard?
Alright. I am going to use Magic Missile on the orc charging the warlock.
Okay. Several streaks of arcane energy shoot out from your hand, all striking the singular orc. And how much damage does that do? So 3d4 plus 3. The orc, still recovering from the warlock's eldritch blast, cannot dodge in time and takes all the magic missiles all across his body, and he falls to the ground with a single sputter.
That was close. Thanks for the backup.
That's what I'm here for.
The orc chieftain, enraged at seeing his comrades die, unleashes a flurry of blows towards the fighter. With 3 quick swipes of his greatsword. Let's see, and what is your armor class again?
21.
21. As you manage to either dodge or soak up all of his blows.
And since he has missed, I am going to repose.
Okay.
Oh, God.
The orc chieftain, seeing you telegraph your attack, easily steps outside of it as you swing completely wide. And with that, the orc chieftain, though dodging the initial attack, is now out of position. And it will go to the cleric.
I cast Hold Person on the Orc Chieftain.
As a wisdom saving throw. I think that he has to make a wisdom saving throw for Hold Person.
Yeah, sorry. Well, you do...
Wait, that was wisdom. Yes, that was wisdom. He fails it, so what does Hold Person do?
It holds the Orc Chieftain for a round. Wait, actually, I have it here.
They're paralyzed for the duration.
Yeah, they're paralyzed for the duration, and at the end of each of its turns, the target can make another wisdom saving throw. On a success, the spell ends on the target.
Okay.
Lasts for 1 minute.
Yep.
So a magical prison of arcane energy surrounds the Orc Chieftain. He cannot get out of it in time, and his arms lock at his side, as he is unable to move.
Okay. Does this make his armor class lowered?
No, but I believe it gives you advantage.
Okay.
They
Yeah,
can't move, speak, and yeah, attack rolls have advantage on him.
And they automatically fail strength and dex saving throws.
Alright, so you can attack with advantage.
Oh, and any attack that hits the creature is a critical hit if the attacker is within 5 feet of the creature.
Alright.
Alright, well. He's right in front of me. I'm going to take a swing at him.
Okay, go ahead and make an attack roll with advantage.
Advantage, I don't know what that does.
You take the better of the 2 d20s that are rolled.
Ah.
Your longsword cannot manage to pierce his armor, and you deal no damage.
I'm going to expend my action surge and swing again.
Okay, go ahead.
Come on.
You cannot manage to pierce his armor,
Oh
and so
boy.
you can barely move. And the warlock sees this confrontation.
I'm going to use Chill Touch on
Chill
the
Touch.
orc.
Okay.
It's a ranged attack.
Has disadvantage on attacks against cast on the end of the next turn. That does hit. Go ahead and roll for damage. 3 points of necrotic damage.
Oh.
See, is that a cantrip?
Yes.
Okay. There's a beam of frost. Frost infused with dark magic shoots through the air, striking the orc chieftain directly in his chest, dealing 3 points of necrotic damage.
Also causes a lingering hand to kind of sit on their shoulder.
Which
That's
gives
not creepy.
disadvantage. A seeming almost ethereal hand appears over his shoulder that only you can see.
And with that, I will move a little closer to the throne, away from the door.
Okay, you do that.
Alright. I'm going to move up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'll use my bonus action to affix Hunter's Mark.
Okay.
And swing in.
Okay, with advantage, that does hit, as your strike goes clean through the chieftain's armor. It lets out a pained yell.
So I'll just roll twice and we'll add the damage together.
It's just double the dice, so yes,
Oh,
roll
just
twice.
the damage dice.
Yes, roll. So you can roll twice, but take them off of the second roll.
Yeah. So just 4 off of that, and then from Hunter's Mark, 5.
19 points of piercing damage.
Nice.
Alright.
And that'll be my turn.
Okay, and our wizard sees the orc chieftain in distress.
Magic missile at level 2.
Alright, so that's 4d4 plus 4. As this time, 4 arcane missiles shoot towards the chieftain, swirling around him, and dealing a total of 19 points of force damage. And it will go to the orc chieftain, who will attempt to break out of his hold. Which he is not able to do. He looks in very dire straits. As he looks at the cleric staring down at him. Staring up at him, as it were.
Alright, I'm going to use my Warhammer.
That is, it would have crit anyway, but that is a hit. Going straight through his armor once again.
Alright. So I just click on the Warhammer in the chat and then it rolls the damage?
Yes.
Right.
11 points of bludgeoning damage. You swing your warhammer into the side of the orc's hide. It goes straight through. You hear the crunch as one of his ribs crack, and he falls to his knees. You swing again, this time hitting him directly in the side of his face, as you hear another crack as his jaw dislocates, and he falls to the ground. The throne room grows quiet, the only sound being of the orcs outside, as their leader lay dead on the ground. A human voice rings out from the side of the throne room. Go. The king retreats to the now open passageway, with one of the guards following suit. A second guard reaches out to you, attempting to bring you into the passageway. The throne room suddenly booms with the battle cries of hundreds of orcs streaming into the throne room.
I think that's our cue to get out of here.
Yep, I'm not gonna second guess it.
Nope.
You run to the passageway, and as you enter it, the guard makes a small magic symbol with his left hand, causing a small explosion as a cascade of rocks blocks the path behind you. The guard, heavily breathing, speaks to you. Quickly, we must continue on outside of the castle and meet with the king. He lights a torch as he begins leading you down the hallway. Leading you through a labyrinth of old passage tunnels. He quickly leads you out, and 10 minutes pass as you reach the back of EverBright on the outside of its moat. The two guards stand with the king. The king walks up to your party and thanks you all for your efforts. He says that he needs to go away. to a nearby city to ask for help. He does not know how the orcs got to this point, or how they were able to come back up. All he knows is that now, the city of EverBright belongs to them, although they did lose their chief. He hates to ask more of you, but right now the orcs would be in disarray, and either finding some information of how they gathered up, or even taking the fight back to them, would get you in his good graces.
You need not require that you ask for me to assault these goblins. Nasty, vile creatures. I'll slay every last one of them, even if it takes my life to do it.
Well, now, Pelor wouldn't want me to be off doing something else when you clearly need help. Of course I'll help you.
Monster hunting? Sounds like fun to me. Where do I sign up?
I wasn't expecting you guys to get through that fast.
God.
I wasn't expecting the whole shatter at the very beginning, along with the hold person.
Yeah, the whole person was a real good thing. That guy had a ton of health points.
Well, and then my epic magic missile.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
It's like the one point where it needed to count. And only one of them wasn't 4, it was 3.
Yep.
If you guys give me like 5 minutes, I could whip something up real quick to keep this going. Because I was expecting this to take about 2 hours.
Oh. Whoops.
Like I said, this is my first one shot, so that's my fault. I know to not make it that short next time.
No, man. Go ahead.
Right.
I really like the way you narrate each action. It flows really well.
Thank you.
I'm a little bit envious.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Alright, well, I'll be back in 5.
Okay. I was going to say, I guess the question would be at this point, are we going to have a long rest in between the next...
Sure, I'll let you guys have a long rest.
Oh, sweet.
Yay, spell slot's back.
Yeah, I get to check on some of my
Everything
things
else
for
is
the
back.
descriptions.
Yeah.
Did we get any experience points from that?
I would say, even if there was enough to level up, I don't think we'd have that much time tonight to level up as a part of a one-shot.
Yeah, you're right. Alright. I'm in rest then.
I say that one orc almost got close enough for me to almost have to use my racial trait.
I was thinking the whole time, like, oh crap, I used an AoE on the first shot, and that was just a wave. I thought there was going to be more waves of orcs coming in. I was like, I only have one other AoE, and it's centered off myself. I have to hold this.
Yeah, I should have done more waves. I know that if I ever do this again, to put in more waves.
Yeah, usually there's at least 3 combats from the one-shots I've done. It'll usually be like 2 smaller sized ones.
Alright.
And then like a big boss fight, kind of like the one that we just did.
Alright, that is good to know.
Well, and the fun part about it is even though you used up your AoE, I have Shatter as well.
Yeah, I think it's only a 5 out of 10, but they were all still in it. I gotta double check that because I didn't put anything other than the damage in that.
Oh, here, let me.
I'm trying to.
Here.
Ah. Oh, it is a 10-foot sphere. Okay. I remember using that at one point, and because it does damage to physical objects in the surrounding area, I used it in an armory to sunder all of the weapons so that they were unusable.
Nice. But yeah, the one thing I like about the Tiefling is their racial trait.
Oh yeah, Hellish Rebuke is excellent. If that guy hit me, he was going to get lit on fire. So what are so we have a Dragonborn fighter.
Yep.
What else do we have? I'm the Tiefling Warlock.
Go figure, the magic classes other than the cleric are tieflings.
Nice.
Wood Elf Ranger? Outlander? Really standard.
Yep. And it's still really effective.
Yep.
You get an extra 5 feet for being a wood elf of
Yep.
movement. That's pretty
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah, it made the difference.
Honestly, I thought whole person was gonna be overkill, but after basically like bouncing off of those 2 attacks off of him, I'm like, yeah, might as well.
Well, and then because I knew it was a siege, so I went with charm person as well.
Yeah, the only downside really for Warlock that I see from the other casters is you have very limited spell slots.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking, in a siege type situation where you would only have short rests in between fights, that could actually be to your advantage.
Yeah, I only get a max of 4 spell slots, but my 5th and up level spells I get as a class feature that I get 1 use of them per day, and I get 1, and it doesn't count against my spell slots expended when I use them.
Oh, right on.
And of course, then, as the tiefling, we get the thaumaturgy, which is...
And Hellish Rebuke, and then what's the other one that we get? It's at 5th level.
I believe it's 5th level, yeah.
We get Darkness once per day.
Okay, almost done. Just setting up one more character sheet real quick.
No problem, man.
Alright.
But yeah, as a wizard, I threw in Ray of Frost. Because...
They're slow.
Yep. Reduces their movement speed by 10 feet.
I went full on caster warlock, so I took Pact of the Tome. So I actually have 6 cantrips that I can use.
Nice.
So I've got Ray of Frost, Firebolt, and Shocking Grasp, with my other 2 being Eldritch Blast and Chill Touch. And then Thaumaturgy for free from Tiefling.
I have the same exact ones as you do, except for the last 2.
They're just so useful.
Well, it's like as cantrips for doing damage, Firebolt, Ray of Frost, Shocking Grasp.
Oh,
Are your main ones.
Yeah. Plus, Shocking Grasp is good to get away if somebody's close.
Yeah.
I was tempted to do it on the orc, but I saw you guys had some turns and you might save me.
After meeting with the King of EverBright, you went through the town searching for any type of leads. You heard talk of a camp near the town. One that was a small outpost, but a good place to start. As you approach, you take a stealthy approach among the trees, and you see guarding the entrance of the camp a few goblins with an archer on top of a watchtower.
What time of day is it?
It is still in the dead of night.
Okay.
What's the weather like?
The weather is fairly clear. The rain has mostly passed.
How tall are these walls?
The walls are 5 feet tall. They're simple logs. This is a very makeshift camp.
I make note of seeing... I have 120-foot dark vision. What's the creature in the back? Can I identify it? The large one.
Make a history check.
Hey, I could do that too, because I have history.
It's a kobold, isn't it?
Yes, it's a very big kobold.
He ate his greens.
Whatever it is, it has a large tree in its left hand. Could be some kind of druid, maybe. I mean, druids like trees.
There's a very big, angry druid in there, I think. It's holding up a tree.
Could I see? I was gonna say, could I see if I know anything better since I am proficient with history?
Go ahead. And you notice that it is definitely for sure bigger than anything you've fought so far. Although its exact name eludes you at this point.
Can I roll religion? I have an idea. I want to determine what gods or god they worship.
Sure. Go ahead and roll a religion check. You see the telltale signs of Groomsh himself on the outskirts of this camp, mainly adorning the logs surrounding, acting as the camp's walls, almost to ward away any would-be invaders. Groomsh, the father of all orcs.
Are we able to see the tops of these tents?
The tops, they look to be just normal tents, so yes.
Okay.
Can the square structure in the back? Can we tell what that is?
Is that the watchtower with the 2 archers on it?
Let's see, to the east.
That one.
Yes. That looks like a kind of a makeshift. They're about 10 feet in the air. Kind of like a little bit makeshift watchtower inside the camp rather than on the outside.
I'll
And what's I was gonna say, what's the watchtower made out of?
Mainly wood. This was cobbled together.
I'm gonna whisper over to the cleric. I'll say, "Fire may not be our best option. The wood is damp. No good tinder. I'll sneak over to the north side. Once you guys begin to engage, I'll do my best to take out those archers."
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Would you like to make a stealth check?
Yeah. I'll have my bow out.
Okay.
So here we go.
Okay, you managed to sneak around without any alarm being sent up.
I'll position myself right. Do I have visual on them from here?
Yes, that is the terrain itself is starting to rise up a bit at that point.
Oh, excellent. Sweet. Yeah, and then I'll just, as soon as I hear battle beginning, I will make an attack action.
Okay. So you want to ready an attack?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh wow! These walls are 5 foot high. You said, right?
Yes, you can see pretty much over them.
I can see over them.
The only thing that's really high is the watchtower, which is only about 10 feet.
I was gonna say my character is a good 6 feet, so I can look right over the
Yeah.
wall.
That's why I asked, because I could see everything in the camp. I'm just over 5 feet tall.
Yeah, I'm 6 feet
I'm gonna
tall.
stand on your tiptoes.
Yeah. But it is dark out, so how well lit is the camp? Do they have fires everywhere, or just torches?
There's a few torches around, casting dim light inside the camp.
Okay.
What about the archers?
The goblin archer seems to be looking around for any invaders, but the two goblin archers inside the camp seem to be mostly slacking off, as the orcs inside cannot see them. They're just mainly talking to each other.
With the charm person spell, does that mean if I was able to charm someone, they would fight for us?
I believe that just makes it to anything that's not harmful to them. They're friendly to you until you make them do something harmful to themselves.
I'll recast Hunter's Mark,
Okay.
targeting the leftmost goblin.
Okay. You do that.
While we're getting prepped, I'm going to use one of my spells to cast Armor of Agathis on myself.
Alright, what does that do?
Armor of Agathis gives me 5 temp HP, and as long as I have the temp HP, anything that hits me in melee gets 5 cold damage as retaliation.
Alright.
Do you have second level spell slots?
I have 2.
So
Same
the
here.
10.
I like to use resistance on the fighter, yeah.
Alright, and what does resistance do?
I touch one willing creature, and once before spell ends, the target can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to one saving throw of its choice. It can roll the die before or after the saving throw. The spell then ends.
Okay.
And I would say I'm going to ready my firebolt cantrip for the single archer on the tower closest to us when combat starts.
Okay.
Alright, so here's the big question. Who we sending in first?
Nose goes.
I vote for the giant scary dragon man in full plate.
Well, you know, the person that can spit acid out of his mouth.
He seems
guys-
like a good choice.
I have an idea. I have thaumaturgy as a cantrip as well. So I'm wondering, can I make use thaumaturgy to make let's just say a small voice say insulting the goblin archer that's closest to us?
That's
Saying
the
that-
what spell?
Thaumaturgy.
Okay. So you were going to aim that towards the goblin on the watchtower. And where is that voice going to be originating from?
I would say probably somewhere in the camp would probably be the best area to originate the voice from, so he turns his back towards us.
Yeah, but thaumaturgy only has a range of 30 feet. I can reach from here.
Oh yeah, that's right, it does, doesn't it?
I mean, you could send it south from us, closer towards the gate.
Alright, let me. Oh, yeah. Alright.
At least divert their attention away from us.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I cast thaumaturgy 30 feet south from where I am.
Okay, and you're going to use this to get his attention to south of you? You create a small voice. Something akin to, let's see, what, are you going to make the voice anything special or just a general?
They're basically a goblin in saying very coarse comments about his mother.
And you hear the faint voice of some broken goblish to the trees south of you. And the goblin archer looks to the trees and says something quick to the 3 goblins in front of him, and they both move to check out the sound. Or they all 3 move to check out the sound.
Do we take them out while they're distracted?
I mean, we've done all we can to prep, right? So, yeah, let's do it, yeah.
Problem with that is if we cross the road, the archer's probably going to see us.
Yeah. Granted, I think, let me check the range. What's the range on Shatter? 60 feet?
60 feet. I look at the wizard, the other tiefling, and go, we could just double shot him with firebolt if you want.
The archer? That's what I was thinking.
Both of us just try to line up a shot. I move my character to here, and I use my passive ability, Awakened Mind, to telepathically communicate my plan to the ranger.
Okay, you do that.
We're going to attempt to take the archer out at the front gate. If you can line up a shot on him, all 3 of us should be able to take him down before the camp knows what's going on.
Okay, and this is towards the archer, correct?
That one.
Yep.
Okay, if you're in range, go ahead and attempt an attack roll.
Three, two, one. Everyone fire.
You reach out your hand, and a small flame coalesces near it, shooting out towards the goblin on the watchtower. He reacts just in time, dodging out of the way, before readying up his bow towards the source of the flame. And go ahead and roll for initiative.
Would I be able to use my attack now?
Yes. And you are sending that attack towards one of the goblins in the other watchtower, you said?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Go ahead and make that attack.
So I'll use, this is the left-hand one, the one that has Hunter's Mark.
Okay. And an arrow streaks through the air, striking the goblin directly in the back as you roll for damage.
Alright, and then an additional... So that's total of 7?
It hits the goblin directly in the spine, and the goblin falls off of the watchtower.
Alright, I'll use my bonus action to swap my Hunter's Mark onto the second one.
Okay.
And then I'll use my Horde Breaker ability to make another attack.
Alright.
And how much...
Oh.
This one goes clean past. The goblin didn't even see where this arrow came from.
Oh, well, I suppose that's good. And,
Sorry. I was just wondering... I must not have my firebolt put in there correctly to roll the damage for it.
Alright.
I just put mine under attacks and spellcasting.
Alright, is that everyone's initiative in? 1, 2, 3, 4.
hold up. Ah, there we go.
We'll start off with the farthest goblin, reacting to the sound of the firebolt, and will begin running away from your party towards the inside of the camp.
So, both the warlock and I both shot firebolts at the archer.
Yeah, his roll didn't go through.
My roll didn't go through for some reason.
Oh. Would you like to make the attack roll again?
How do I do that precisely?
I say you said you didn't put in fireball, right? So just roll a d20 plus proficiency plus your spellcasting modifier. And then, if that hits, it'll just be a d10. Just,
Okay, so...
just type in the chat, /r space 1d20 plus 2 plus your spellcasting modifier.
There's also a dice roller near the ruler. It's the little d20 underneath it.
My spellcasting modifier, would that be the spell attack bonus?
Whatever modifier you're using, like your intelligence score or your charisma. It's that plus your proficiency, and that on a d20. I just always type in the chat whenever I need to roll. Alright. This time the firebolt careens through the air, this time hitting the goblin directly in the shoulder, and go ahead and roll a d10 for damage. Five points of damage as the archer's clothes burst into flame. He attempts patting them out and loses his footing, falling off of the watchtower as you hear a goblin scream ring through the air as he is burning alive.
Well, if they didn't know we're here, they know now.
And you hear a few grunts as the orcs in the camp, as you hear the clattering of their metal boots. Our fighter has a chance to react.
Well, I'm going to charge the goblin straight ahead of me.
Okay.
Now, he doesn't know I'm here, does he?
He hasn't initially reacted yet, but he does kind of know you're coming.
Okay.
You swing your sword in an over-swinging arc, as the goblin just barely manages to jump out of the way, as you hit the ground, scattering dust and dirt everywhere, as well as a small bit of mud. The goblin will take this opportunity to attempt to strike you with his dagger, not getting able to pass by your armor as you hear a clang as sparks fly.
I just give him a big toothy grin.
And a warlock overlooking the camp sees his chance.
I'm going to use an Eldritch Blast to knock the last goblin out of that tower.
Okay, is that in range? Oh yeah, it's 120 feet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's in range.
well in range.
Okay. And then roll for damage. Eldritch Blast. That's like kind of a dark magic, isn't it? Like purplish.
Yeah, it's like a dark blue energy that radiates, and actually it's a beam. And as the spell levels up, it creates additional beams I can direct to different targets.
Okay, go ahead. Roll for damage.
Yes.
With a quick swipe of your hand, a beam of dark blue energy shoots out and strikes the goblin directly in the temple. You hear a slight sizzle as his body falls to the ground, and smoke almost coming off of his head from where the Eldritch Blast hit him.
Seems good.
The second goblin will attempt to move around the fighter, attempting to get a flanking advantage. I will attempt to strike him as he's preoccupied with the other goblin. It is a critical hit.
Oh no.
As he goes straight past your armor from the back, dealing a total of 8 points of slashing damage.
From where the goblin was, though, it was 10
Yeah,
feet
I
away.
mean-
It moved into range. Wouldn't he get an opportunity attack?
Yeah.
The way I've always done it, the way I've always heard, is that like when something enters, an opportunity attack happens when something leaves your melee range.
Yes.
And so,
Okay.
like, he didn't leave your melee range, so... If he moved away now, he would take attack of opportunity. You just saw the fighter get stabbed in the back from a goblin. What do you, as the ranger, do?
Actually,
Oh. Are you going to use your reaction for something?
yes, I am.
Okay. What are you going to do?
I'm going to parry.
Okay. That reduces the damage by 1d8, correct? Plus your dexterity modifier.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead and roll. You manage to dislodge your longsword just in time to turn around, and before the goblin sinks his dagger into a parting in your armor, your longsword clashes against the dagger, moving it directly out of the way, reducing the damage by 4 points as you are still winded. That's still 4 points of slashing damage.
Can I see the orcs in the center of camp?
Yes, you can. You have just line of sight of them.
Perfect. I'll fix my hunter's mark to the leftmost one
Okay.
and let a shot fly.
Okay, the arrow strikes into the orc's right shoulder. How much damage does that do? Total of 5 points. 5 points of piercing damage as the orc stumbles but remains standing.
And I'll rock out Horde Breaker on the rightmost one.
Okay. This one does hit as well, striking the other orc in the back as he continues on running, dealing 6 points of piercing damage.
Alright. Let's see, so that's 3 arrows, 4.
There's goblins surrounding the fighter, orcs storming the camp. How do you react as the wizard of the party?
There's 4 orcs right in the middle, right?
Correct.
I am going to drop Shatter right in the middle of them.
Okay. That's 20 feet?
It's a 10-foot radius.
10 foot,
Yeah.
okay.
10-foot sphere.
Okay, so directly in the middle. I would have just barely missed this orc. And, around here. If you had shot it right there, though, it would hit him. If you target this orc with the shatter, it will hit all of the orcs in the camp.
Alright, let's go with that one then.
Okay, and that is a dexterity saving throw? Or a constitution? Which one was it?
Constitution.
Constitution. Three succeed on their saving throws as they barely manage to dodge out of the way. They just barely manage to clutch their ears as a large gong resounds in the middle of this camp. That's 3d8 thunder damage. Halved for the two most southern orcs and the one standing away.
Alright.
Hey.
Not bad.
The two northern orcs. You see blood stream out of their ears as their eardrums burst, and they fall to the ground, screaming in pain.
I give an approving nod to the wizard.
And cleric, you still see two goblins surrounding your fighter friend.
Alright, let's see, move right behind that's attacking the fighter,
Okay.
and I'm gonna use my Warhammer.
Alright, attack with advantage. It hits.
Alright.
After the goblin is stumbling from the parry from the fighter, you bring your warhammer straight down onto the base of its skull, hearing a crack as the bones break in its body, and you send it straight to the floor.
He's gonna feel that one in the morning.
Alright, let me add some other stuff to the turn tracker. The goblin, running to the camp, seeing that the orcs are now moving, turns back around and readies his sling, aiming towards the frail wizard in the back with disadvantage. Okay, that's his dagger, but it's the same stats. The sling goes straight through your arcane defenses, dealing 5 points of bludgeoning damage as it smacks against your shoulder. To our wizard. One of the orcs in the center of the camp attempts to dash out. It makes it just to the outskirts of camp, as the fighter turns back to face the kobold, or the goblin in front of him.
I'll be back in just a couple minutes, guys.
Alright.
Alright.
Shall we wait then?
We could go up to his turn. He's the wizard.
Well, I'm gonna give a big toothy grin to the little goblin and swing at him.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for damage. The goblin, unable to get out of the way, takes your longsword in full swing directly into the center of his small body, dealing 10 points of slashing damage as blood spurts out all over to the blade of your weapon. He clutches at his chest as he falls to the ground, and after a few seconds of convulsing, stops.
Now I still have my movement, right?
Yes.
I'm going to move back here to protect the wizard.
Okay. Another one in the orc attempts to dash out as he signals to the large creature in the camp. He comes up to the cleric but is unable to get his weapon ready in time. Another orc in the camp attempts to do the same, dashing out of the camp. There are orcs starting to surround the cleric, and more orcs streaming out of the front of the camp. What does the warlock do?
Warlock will use Eldritch Blast on one of the orcs.
Which one?
Say the one on the right of the cleric.
Okay. A beam of dark blue energy streams towards the orc. The orc, seeing it in the corner of his eye, just barely manages to duck out of the way as it hits the tree, burning a small hole of dark energy into its base.
Damn.
And if you don't want to move, we will wait for our wizard to return.
Actually, seeing the wizard taking damage,
Yes, he's
I will move. I will move here.
Okay.
Actually, sorry, here.
Alright, you do that. So how are y'all enjoying this so far?
Yeah, this is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's good.
Awesome.
That's good. Been a while since the last time I actually played on Roll20.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Do a lot of pen and paper.
Mostly pen and paper, yeah.
I've only got one game going pen and paper. I'm using Horde of the Dragon Queen with friends
Oh.
in real life.
Nice.
Like, I'm also kind of doing it on Roll20 because that's where I've got the module, but it's just basically pen and paper, but using a small surface to look at to use Roll20. But everything else physical.
How obstructing are the trees to my vision?
Let's see, to your vision. As the ranger, you can make it through the trees fairly easily, so they will not be blocking your shot. Except for,
Okay.
let's see, who are you looking at now to shoot?
Let's see. I'm looking to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm looking to be right about here. See if I can belt off on these two guys.
Okay, yes, you would be able to go through there.
That's good.
Oh, I just noticed something on my my buff spell. Warlocks have to cast at the level of the spell slots that they're currently at. Mine's second, so I actually have 10, not 5 extra temp HP.
Alright.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Alright.
Where do you get the music that you use for this?
Roll20 has a jukebox. A bunch of their stuff is from Tabletop Audio, but there is this thing called Fan Burst. It basically just lets you search different stuff, and that's where I get a bunch of sound effects and stuff I use. That's right on Roll20.
Oh, nice. I remember I tried DMing a campaign on this once, and I couldn't figure out how to get the jukebox to work. That was a few years back.
Oh yeah, I haven't been using Roll20 for that long, but the music definitely helps a lot.
Yeah, it is great. I didn't know if it was something in my background at first when the music was turned on. Like, this is good ambiance.
Alright, I'm back.
Welcome back. Let's see. That was you, right, Luke? Said? Oh, who said that? Sorry. I was looked away for 1 second.
Oh yeah, that was me.
Okay, so we're still waiting on Lukenstein.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I actually have to get off, guys.
Alright, well then, good luck with what you're doing then.
Alright, and good luck with you guys.
Alright,
Peace
thank
out.
you.
Good.
So which one did we lose?
The wizard.
Okay.
Alright. I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna move him over here.
I was gonna say, feel free to use the character if you want to.
I actually don't know what most of the spells do because I never really play spellcasters.
If I remember correctly, I put all the definitions in the information thing on them, so it should just pull up.
Okay.
I could run it if you want. I've played Wizard before.
Alright, I'll just give you a control of this character sheet.
Okay. Resize mine so they both fit here.
Or you should be able to see and use his.
Yep, I see it. Let's see, we are going to use... What does he have for spell slots? Alright, we're going to use a magic missile against the charging orc.
Alright, the one... Alright, yes. I see. Alright, the orc, still attempting to find his footing in the newly formed mud, stumbles as the multiple rays of arcane magic slam into his body. And that is at the first level, what are you doing?
Yes.
Alright, so 3d4 plus 3.
Oh,
Alright, 10 points of force damage as he falls to the ground, but barely manages to continue moving and spends a few seconds getting up.
Alright, that'll be it for now. I don't think I'll need to move him. He's well fortified.
Seeing the orc goes down presents you with an opportunity as the ranger.
I stride forward with the grim purpose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I have shots on the 2?
Shots on the 2, yes.
Awesome. Alright, so I'll use my hunter's mark. Fix
Okay.
it to the one on the right, and I'll
Okay.
take a shot right here.
Let's see, to this one, correct?
Yep.
Okay, you hit him straight in the back. Roll for damage. 9 points of piercing damage as your arrow soars through the air and flies into the back of this orc, piercing past his armor. He lets out a groan. He lets out a cry of pain as he turns to face you.
Alright, now I'll do the same to his buddy. Looks like he could use some hurt.
Alright, the orc, after seeing his friend get hit by an arrow, looks towards your direction and dodges just underneath as one of your arrows flies through right where his skull would have been.
Right. And that'll be my turn.
You hear large footsteps in the camp as you see over the tops of the small walls the large beast coming through the camp, barely making it to the gates before giving our cleric a chance to react to the 2 orcs surrounding him.
I'm going to use my warhammer on the orc in front of me.
Let's see, to the south? Or to the bottom or to the right?
Yeah, the bottom. Yeah.
Okay. Alright, roll for damage. The orc sends a blow, trying to attempt to strike into you. As you block the blow with one hand, you swing your warhammer straight into the side of the orc, hearing a small crunch as it meets bone, dealing 9 points of bludgeoning damage as the orc mildly stumbles.
Yeah, I'm no turn.
A goblin at the beginning of the camp begins running up, and seeing the ranger shoot arrows at a few of the orcs, runs up thinking that he's going to be an easy target. He thrusts with his dagger.
Didn't
Not-
he have a sling out?
He put away the sling. His sling was in his left arm, and he dropped that, and now he pulled his dagger, which was in his right arm.
With my bow out, I currently have 16 AC.
16 AC. You managed to dodge out of the way as he thrusts his dagger where you used to be. The orc, after getting hit by the magic missile, continues running up, attempting to get to the source of his pain. He's stopped by the fighter and attempts to strike him once with his great axe. Not being able to penetrate the armor, or even the guard of the fighter in front of him, he steps back, and you have the opportunity to attack him as he thinks he's safe.
Oh, I am. Let me scroll back up here.
His attempts to dodge is no use, as your longsword cleanly goes through his guard. As he attempts to raise his great axe to block you, but your longsword swings faster than his, and you deal how much damage? You deal a total of 11 points of slashing damage, cutting straight into his armor, already augmenting the wounds of the arcane damage from before. He clutches at his side, with blood now streaming out, and he falls to the ground for a few seconds before ceasing to move. And with that, you are emboldened from seeing the orc fall to the ground, and you see your chance in their defenses.
I'm going to charge this guy.
Alright, with a mighty war cry, you raise your longsword above your head as you charge the orc. The orc, still looking in your direction, just manages to get his great axe in front of him, barely blocking your longsword as it falls to the side, or as your arm falls to the side of him. The orc will attempt to come back, using your misstep to his advantage. Not able to get through your armor, as you aren't able to get your longsword back up in time, but your shield blocks his great axe as it clangs off harmlessly. The next orc attempts to reach out towards the cleric who blocked his first blow and attempts to strike him again with a large hit. The cleric easily blocks it with a single swing of his warhammer, sending the unbalanced great axe to the side as the orc stumbles a bit with its weight. The orcs are in disarray. How does the warlock take advantage of this?
What is that? I have a line of sight on the big thing, right?
Yes, would you like to make a... Let's see, you can make a... Let's see, what do you think would apply to seeing what that thing is, in terms of an ability check?
Nature or history, I guess.
Whichever one you're better with.
History.
History. You just remember reading about a history book that you read years and years ago. The description, the physical feature of this beast, you remember the descriptions as being of that of an ogre.
And ogres are not usually that smart. I'm going to use my second spell slot to cast Dissonant Whispers.
Alright, and that requires him to make a wisdom saving throw, correct?
Yes. And if he fails, he also has to run as far away from me as possible.
Okay.
Does that take his reaction?
No, it's, I believe it's just on his turn. He has to forfeit his movement to
He
move away.
fails his wisdom saving throw.
No, it must immediately use its reaction if available and move as far as its speed allows away from me.
As he starts stomping through the camp, as you hear a large cry from it. A large, fear-filled cry as it stomps straight through the campfire, embers flying everywhere as it begins rampaging, as it begins running in the complete opposite direction of you.
I'm gonna look back over my shoulder. I'm gonna yell over my shoulder real quick. What'd you do? Say you're gonna tell on its mother?
Something like that.
The wizard, seeing this large creature turned away with a single whisper, looks for his chance to act. And that'll be your turn again.
Yes. Seeing as how effective it was last time, I will use Magic Missile once more to take out the orc the fighter has engaged.
Okay. More arcane blasts stream from your hand. Two of them hitting directly into the face of the orc, and the third one hitting him in his chest, sending him sprawling 5 feet backwards. As small burns cascade across his body from the small magical fires, almost from the arcane missiles. Or magic missiles. You do not see him move anymore. As the streaks of magic go by, the ranger sees an opening in the goblin's defenses.
I'll drop my bow, whip out my rapier, and attempt to lance him with it after fixing him with Hunter's Mark.
Okay. The goblin can't dodge out of the way as you stick him through the chest. How much damage do you deal? 9 points of piercing damage, as his small goblin body cannot take the blow, and you lift him up into the air, like an impromptu goblin shish kebab.
Oh. I'll call that a success.
Alright.
And, yeah, with that I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That'll be my turn.
Okay. The giant ogre continues its feared rampaging through the camp. It smashes through the tent on the east, and you hear a small roar. That is not what I was expecting that to sound like. And as he goes over, clearing straight through the... Let's see, how long does the Dissonant Whispers last, by the way?
It's just that one turn.
Okay, not knowingly running into a harm.
Yeah. So if you're taking fire damage from the campfire, he doesn't take any.
Okay. He didn't take any fire damage. He slams into the tent, and you hear a small roar as a small black figure on 4 legs strides out of the tent. Before the ogre, seeing this figure, turns back around, and you see fear in its eyes as it slowly backs away for a moment before turning back towards you.
Can I get a Knowledge Arcana check to see if I recognize that?
Sure. Ragnar, it looks like some sort of large dog. You can't really detect any magic flowing around it.
Not that I would have anyway.
Alright, and our cleric looks into the orc's eyes as his friends surround him.
I'm just gonna use my Warhammer.
Effectively.
Very effectively. Go ahead and roll for damage. The orc takes his eyes off of you for less than a second as he turns to look at the ranger behind him. Your Warhammer cracks into its side, hearing another crunch as another one of its ribs breaking. It drops to one knee in pain, and you take your Warhammer, just like last time, bringing it up in an upwards arc, smashing directly into this chin, sending him sprawling backwards. Or sending him sprawling to his back.
Good thing I stretched before.
Hearing another crunch as he hits the ground, unmoving. Let me just go ahead and roll for this guy. Okay, that's there. And so are you going to do anything else with your turn?
No, I end.
Okay, let me reorder this. I don't think that. Come on, do initiative.
No, did you have the other token selected?
I kind of had it on the other screen. I have two things open. Well, that's a good initiative. The small, almost dog-sized creature in the camp sees the commotion and begins moving towards the group of adventurers. You see an ugly black head rear from outside the camp. What do you do to fight this new threat?
First off, what does it look like?
It looks almost. You see, it looks like one of the dragons of old that you've read in books and seen across the land itself. Like that, but much smaller, almost the size of a large dog.
Oh, this is gonna be a fun fight. see. What do I want to do? I'm going to step forward a bit
Okay.
and hold up my shield, ready to defend myself.
Alright. Is that all you're going to do with your turn?
Yep.
You see the fire take up position in front of the large threat now looming over the party. What does the warlock do?
Worried that might be able to charge him, I decide to slow it down and aim a ray of frost at it.
Ray of Frost. The beast jumps out of the way with a small flap of its wing, dodging the ray of blue energy streaming towards it.
I hold my ground at this point.
And the wizard, seeing the ray of frost shot at the monster, attempts to act himself.
He will... Can he make a check to discern what this creature's weakness or anything might be? This is not a magical creature, but it's something different that he hasn't seen before or has seen before potentially.
Maybe. Hey, would you like to make a check on that?
Yeah, how about a history check?
Alright. You just see the scales glinting in the moonlight reminds him of a black dragon, if so, anything that works, any type of acid damage, will not work on it. As far as weaknesses, he doesn't know.
Alright, with that on the table, I will cast a level 2 magic missile.
4 bolts of arcane energy streak out and strike at 4 different points on this creature, dealing 13 total points of force damage as it stands the blow. The ranger turns to see the arcane magic fly through the air, impacting and slightly illuminating the ground above this new creature.
I'll affix it with my hunter's mark and then go 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. I'll use my action to affix my shield.
Okay.
And that'll be my turn.
The cleric looks on as the ranger darts past him and gets into a fighting position.
Alright, I'm gonna move right here. And then I will, let's see, I'll stand in position and I end my turn.
Okay. The ogre, seeing the creature move forward, begins raising his great club and charging towards the party. He manages to just barely get past the creature and unleashes his great club towards the cleric in front of him. And go ahead and also make a strength saving throw.
How would I do a strength saving throw? Just click on my
Yes, under saving throws, click strength. The great club slams into your side and you are just barely able to keep your ground. But it deals 16 points of bludgeoning damage, going straight into your side, past your defenses. It hits your shield, and as you feel the vibrations going through your arm, it feels numb for a second. The creature then moves to the side and and looks down the fighter. And he opens his mouth as a stream of pure acid comes forth and makes its way towards the fighter. And I'm going to have you make a dexterity saving throw. You attempt to roll out of the way, but fail as acid begins coating your whole armor and shield, sizzling as it eats away. And it deals a total of 13 points of acid damage. Recovering from the bout of acid that was just spat on you, the creature looks momentarily away from you, thinking its kill secure.
I'm going to pop second wind.
Okay.
Get resistance on that.
Oh yeah, I gave him a resistance.
'Cause don't
well-
you also use acid?
No, I used poison.
Alright, he could have added a d4 to his saving throw, but that's still a critical fail.
No, I mean not the spell resistance. Your
Alright, he's using poison, not acid. Poison is green,
okay.
acid is black.
Gotcha.
Okay.
I'm popping second wind.
Alright, so 1d10 plus 3.
I'm going to attempt something extremely stupid. But I'm going to attempt it.
What will you attempt to do?
After I roll this.
You could just click second wind in your character sheet. I put that in there. It's just a 1d10 plus 3.
Yeah.
Alright, 9 points of healing. You start brushing off the acid using the hilt of your sword. And look towards the creature.
At this point, it's pretty much been verified that this thing is some kind of dragon. Right?
This looks like a dragon. It shoots something out of its mouth like a dragon. I'd say it's a dragon.
I'm going to attempt to talk to it in Draconic.
In Draconic. What would you like to say?
Why are you here with them?
And go ahead and make some kind of check.
What would I even roll for that?
I don't know, persuasion, intimidation, something that works.
Deception. Try to trick it into our side. Something.
Well, either way, it's all a one.
Yep, and you just click on the check.
Oh!
Oh man. He speaks to you, and you alone. He says unto you, "The city will be mine. No orc will stop me. They are but a means to an end, and now you will die here."
Alright, he's made his choice. I'm making mine.
You see the fighter attempting to talk to the dragon, and you see possibly a chance to act as the caster. A momentary weakness in its defenses.
I will use Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
Do I connect?
Yes, you do. Go ahead and roll for that. 12 points of force damage as the dark blue beam sears into the dragon's scales, making a small dent and a sizzle as the heat rises up, as the dragon locks eyes with you. And the wizard will also get his chance to prove himself.
Wizard. Oh, actually, I'm not going to use that. The wizard is going to use Magic Missile once more against the dragon.
More bolts of arcane energy soar through the battlefield, lighting the air as it slams into the hide of the dragon, dealing 11 points of force damage.
And then he will move 5 feet away. Oops,
Okay.
right here.
The dragon looks injured, and the ranger sees his chance to act.
Usually used to fighting orcs, goblins, and kobolds in the mountains, I mince around for a little bit, kind of, for a second hesitating. Gods help me. I charge in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll level an attack at the dragon.
Okay. That connects. You find purchase inside the scales, as you deal a total of 13 points of damage, as you see blood start to, or as you see a black blood ichor start to ooze from the dragon's scale, from the wound that you inflicted on it.
Using my bonus action, I'll reaffix. Oh wait, I can't do that. Never mind. I'll level my second attack at the ogre.
Okay. The ogre raises his great club and smacks your rapier away from its trajectory, and it deals no damage.
I whimper a little bit. Alright, that'll be my turn.
The ogre, his gaze temporarily upon the ranger, gives the cleric an opportunity.
I use a prayer of healing.
Oh, that's a casting time of 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Alright then.
You could use a cure wounds at the second level.
I'll use cure wounds.
Alright, that is 2d at the second level would be 2d8 plus your spellcasting modifier.
Oh, okay, so 12 total.
Your holy symbol sparks and shimmers as a green glow surrounds you. It attaches to your arm, and the numbness slowly fades away. And will you do anything else? A healing word, who is that to?
You can only cast a bonus action spell into cantrip at the same turn.
Oh, okay, sorry.
What was that?
You can only cast a bonus action spell into cantrip on the same turn.
Really?
Yeah.
Alright.
Other than that, I end my turn.
With the cleric's hands busy mending his own wounds, the ogre attempts to strike him again with his great club. Your AC is 18, correct?
Yes.
Instead of directly blocking the damage this time, you learn to dodge out of the way, missing the attack entirely as it slams into the ground. You hear the squish of mud as it begins attaching to his great club. The dragon, now looking at the ranger, or not the ranger, the fighter who attempted to speak to him, reaches out and attempts to bite him. Critically failing, missing, and hitting the tree, he momentarily regains his composure as his fangs strike into the tree as you dodge out of the way easily.
And I'm going to repose.
Okay.
You done fucked up.
Well,
Oh.
The dragon, its neck outstretched and a clear target. As it's stuck in the tree, you bring your longsword down, but slip in the mud as you do, falling to the ground, but getting up before the dragon regains its own composure. As the dragon rears back, you see your opportunity again.
A little slippery over there.
Yeah, it is. Alright, I'm gonna go for it again.
Okay.
Oh!
man.
There we go.
First to first.
Go ahead and roll for damage. The dragon opens its mouth again, and you see a collection of acid begin to spew out, and as it's opened its mouth, you stab your longsword directly into it. You see black ichor spew out from the wound, covering yourself, covering the blade, covering your armor, covering all over you, as the dragon goes back with more black blood spilling everywhere from its mouth, acid combining with it, sizzling the ground as it scorches it. The dragon whips its tail around, whips its wings around, tries to fly, launches about 5 feet up into the air, then falls to the ground, unmoving.
You don't fuck with the green!
And will you move anywhere?
You can't let the cleric and the ranger have all the fun.
True. I'm gonna move here and do an action surge. I'm feeling pumped.
Okay, action surge. Push yourself beyond your limit, bringing your longsword to bear again. Oh man.
What
Maybe
is it
stay
with
within
me
your
and It's fucking nat ones tonight.
The ogre brings his great club and seeing you charge in, steps to the side. You go almost past him, and he brings his great club down behind you, stumbling you as the force catches you off guard.
That's 6 out of the last 7 rolls have been 1s, and then we had a 20.
Lord.
The warlock and the wizard has a clear shot to the ogre towering over his allies.
Yet another eldritch blast coming from the warlock.
The ogre manages to raise his great club in time to block the blast. Another sizzle resounding through the air as it burns a hole inside of his weapon.
Alright, and with that, I'm going to move to here.
Alright, and what about our wizard? What will he do?
Yet another magic missile. Actually, no, this time he's going to use acid arrow.
Okay, what does that do?
4d4 acid, 2d4 on the subsequent turn.
On a hit.
Okay,
yeah,
so make a ranged spell attack. Just a d20 plus 5.
Oh.
The shimmering green arrow does streak towards the ogre. It misses its target as the ogre dodges out of the way, as a small portion of the acid splashes onto the front of the ogre, and you hear a small sizzling as it takes 3 points of acid damage. The ogre, temporarily looking at the wizard which shot the acid arrow at him, takes his gaze away from the enemies in front of him.
I'll level my hunter's mark at him. Stab him. Or attempt to.
He blocks the rapier with his great club, dealing no damage.
Look at that. I'm gonna call out a turn.
The ogre, now looking at the ranger, gives the cleric an opportunity to act.
I cast Hold Person.
as a wisdom saving throw.
Yes.
Okay.
Nat 20, here we go, boys.
So what's this? Okay.
Watch the ogre be the one that...
He didn't do so well against the last wisdom throw.
Oh man. As the chains, as the magical chains go around him, through sheer force of will and strength, he resists it and is unaffected.
Oh boy. Yeah, and my turn.
The ogre, now enraged, swings his great club in a large arc towards the fighter in full plate armor. And it connects directly as you hear a sound go through the air as the great club smashes against your shield. And that deals 9 points of bludgeoning damage. And I also need you to make a strength saving throw.
Okay.
You succeed. You stand your ground as the ogre lets out another pained roar in a rage as he makes another quick swipe with his great club. And again, you are not able to dodge out of the way as it slams into your side, dealing another 8 points of bludgeoning damage. Also, I think this is whispering it to me because it says to me.
Yeah,
But,
we haven't seen any of these
okay.
rolls.
So, like, I set down the game settings, but I didn't think it worked, so this is whispering. I'm gonna see if it... Let's see, I don't think it would change, even if I changed the settings right now. But if anything, you guys can watch the video later and see that this is what's happening.
Yeah,
And
no
so
problem.
you take another 8 points of bludgeoning damage. And, oh, what was that?
I'm down.
You
Oh, no.
you are sent on your feet as the second blow proves too much for you, and you get knocked to the ground. Go ahead and roll your death saving throw.
And what do I do for that? Oh,
Just
death
yeah,
saves?
yeah, or just a d20. That's what it is. There's no modifiers. That is one failure. The warlock, seeing the fighter go down in 2 quick swipes, decides to act.
I'm going to use Chill Touch.
Chill touch, okay. Another blue beam of magical energy streams towards the ogre, and he moves out of the way.
I'm going to then position myself here next to the fighter.
Okay. And it will go to the wizard next.
Wizard is going to move in a little closer and is going to use Firebolt.
Okay. Also, just so you know, when I roll the ogre's attacks now, I'm just gonna roll it like with a normal roll. Just because I think, like, it's easier when you guys can see it.
Mhm.
Okay, so make a ranged spell attack. Alright, that's a 24. That hits. The streak of fire hits the ogre directly in the chest as he's unable to raise his great club in time, and he takes 7 points of fire damage as a few embers fly off of his body.
That's my turn.
The ogre recoils, giving the ranger an opportunity.
I'll fumble my sword into my sheath as I incant a sylvan incantation. Small green aura fades throughout my hand, and 10 berries appear within my palm.
Okay, so the good berry spell.
Mm-hmm.
Alright,
I'll then shove past the dwarf 10, 15. As I do so, I'll start waving my shield around and saying, "Hey you, ugly brute! Over here! I said over here!"
He turns around to face the source of the noise.
Alright, and that'll be my turn.
Alright, the ogre, his attention completely away from his old enemies, gives way for the cleric.
Alright, I'm going to move behind the fighter and then use my cantrip Spare the Dying on him.
Okay, spare the dying.
That would provoke an attack
Yes, that
opportunity.
would.
Right?
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
you moved out, so that would be a single attack of opportunity. As a quick swipe comes out from the ogre, seeing you in the side of his vision. That is a critical hit.
Oh my god. I'm out.
Take
He
down.
He deals 23 points of damage as you get knocked up into the air and fly into the mud next to the fighter.
Oh my lord.
I have 3 hit points, never mind.
How many?
3.
3 hit
He's
points.
still alive.
Through another sheer force of will, you manage to barely get up, mud clinging to your armor as you do.
Alright. So anyway, you Spare the Dying on the fighter.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you are now stable.
Yeah.
You do not
Meaning I'm-
you do not have to make death saving throws. You are no longer in danger of dying.
Yeah, I had a feeling if you were probably gonna keep rolling 2s or something.
Yeah, my fucking luck.
Now remember, a natural 1 would have been 2 death failures. You would have died right there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So I think we just go past you because it only stabilizes you. It doesn't heal you.
Now he's stabilized. I think he might heal 1 point per turn. Is it?
Uh,
Or is it
no.
per hour?
Stabilization doesn't heal you, he's just unconscious.
Yeah, it just makes you not have to roll death saving throws. Okay. Oh wait, I forgot. Shit. I didn't do the ogre's turn. Whoops. And the ogre moves towards the ranger, making a path through the trees as you get the opportunity to attack him. The warlock.
I can't remember. Is it a feat or can I use a cantrip as my attack of opportunity?
Oh, it's your reaction.
That'd be a warcaster feat. You'd only be able to hit him with your staff.
Right.
Yeah, I'll take a stab at him with my spear then.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. Yeah. As missing him just by a few inches, he steps out of the way, dodging your spear, almost accidentally. And he will level his great club and attempt to strike at the ranger in front of him.
Oh yeah, that hits.
Hitting directly into the small body as he deals. Nine points of bludgeoning damage.
Alright.
And then it will go to our warlock after seeing the ranger take that large of a hit.
Ooh, alright. I'm going to try using Eldritch Blast again.
Alright, you raise up your hand. And the ogre manages, again, to just barely dodge out the way of the oncoming, glowing ray of energy.
Alright, I'll then push my way this direction and try taunting him as well. Poking at him with my spear as I can. Hey, big, dumb, and ugly, over here.
His attention becomes divided between the two of you as he's not sure which to smash next. And it will go to our wizard.
Big, dumb,
Sorry.
ugly, yet very agile.
Yes. He is going to use... He's going to move right here and is going to use Burning Hands which will not hit me or the ranger, as he has the ability to shape his spells to not hit a certain number of targets.
Okay. So that's a dexterity saving throw?
Yes.
Okay, let me look at his dexterity. He fails and takes the full 3d6 fire damage. 9 points as the flames spread across his body, lighting a small fire atop his great club as he hurries to drive it into the mud to snuff the flame before taking it back out and looking back to the enemies in front of him. As he's doing that, the ranger moves in.
Is he still aflame?
Alright. It's mostly inconsequential flames. The only large one was on the club, which has now been snuffed out.
Okay. I'll scatter, using my object interaction, I'll scatter 4 good berries in the direction, as best I can, of the downed warrior, and I'll say, "Stuff one of these down his gullet!" And then, bracing both my hands on my shield, I'll set up in a defensive pose.
Okay, you do that. They go over to the cleric easily.
Alright, that'll be my turn.
And the cleric, reaching out his hand, catches the 4 good berries.
Alright, yeah, I shoved the good berries down the fighter's throat.
Okay. He regains 4 hit points, and is now regained consciousness.
Alright. Did I use healing word? Let me check.
No, you haven't.
No, you haven't yet.
No.
You tried
Alright,
to after you used healing, cure light wounds.
Alright. Yeah, use a healing word on the fighter.
Okay. As you utter a single word, as a green glow surrounds his wounds and heals him for 4 points of damage.
And I move... Wait, can I move or not?
Yes, you can.
Alright, I move right in front of the wizard.
Okay.
And then I end my turn.
Seeing the shield raising as a challenge, the ogre sends his great club on top of the ranger.
That misses. So no need to roll a disadvantage.
Right. And, unable to hit him, the ranger, instead of taking the blow full on like last time, dodges out of the way, the same as the cleric, as the great club makes an impression in the wet mud underneath him.
And to think, if I could have been my skull.
And the fighter, now conscious, gets up.
Alright, Ugly, you done pissed me off. How tall is he?
He's about 10 feet.
Okay. I'm going to move right in front of him, look up, and blow the poison breath right in his face.
Alright, dexterity saving throw.
No, Constitution.
Constitution, right. He fails. 6 points of poison as you exhale directly into his face. It starts coating his chin and front of his face as you hear the sizzling as it starts eating the flesh, and he moves his hand up to try to almost swat the poison away. And while he is busy doing that, the warlock readies his weapons.
Wish I had more spell slots. I'm going to have to use Eldritch Blast. One more time.
Okay. And that narrowly misses. As he flailing around, trying to get this poison off of him, dodges out of the way as you outstretch your hand and send the beam south.
I'll remain here, taunting at him again, poking him with my spear as I can.
He attempts to swat you away without much recourse, and it goes back to our wizard for a chance to act.
Wizard will use Firebolt.
Firebolt. Go ahead. Does not hit as he brings his great club up in time and almost swats the magical ball of fire away, sending it flying into the river to the south.
He will take a 5-foot step back.
The ogre, still swatting at his head with his free hand, does not lock eyes with the ranger, who has an opportunity.
Seeing my chance, I'll drop the remainder of my good berries, draw my rapier, and attempt to lance him with my hunting mark thing. Yeah.
Okay. That does not hit as your rapier does not manage to get past its thick hide.
And I think over here, is this water?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll stay where I'm at.
Alright. Seeing the rapier ineffective, the cleric thinks he might try his own weapon.
Alright, this is getting pretty bad, so I'm gonna use Guiding Bolt.
Guiding bolt, okay. You reach out your hand, and as it's busy trying to still swat out the poison, you connect with your left hand and put it on the front of its stomach, and small sizzles of energy surround your hand as you hear magic shoot from your hand, piercing the ogre's hide. How much damage does that deal? 15 points of radiant damage as the ogre reaches down as he lets out another cry of pain, swatting your hand away from his stomach. From where you put your hand, you see burn marks and blood coming from the surface.
It says here in the spell description that the next attack roll made against this target before the end of my next turn has advantage.
Okay.
Alright, and I end my turn.
Okay. The ogre, now furious at its new scar, reaches for its great club to attack the cleric.
Goodbye, guys.
It's been fun.
Not able to connect as the cleric sidesteps out of the way.
Not today.
That, and don't forget, his face is still coated with poison.
Yep.
Alright, and overextended, the fighter moves in.
And has advantage.
Yes.
Yep. And I'm going to aim for the same spot the cleric just damaged.
Okay. You sink your longsword into the spot, still sizzling with holy energy, drawing almost a fountain of blood. How much damage do you deal? 5 points of slashing damage, as the ogre voices its frustration and anger once more. And will that end your turn?
Yep.
The ogre, on its last legs, lashes out, and the warlock sees an opportunity.
I'm gonna keep doing this until it works. Eldritch Blast.
You strike a blow in his lower defenses, hitting into his left arm, dealing 10 points of force damage, as the swing that was aimed towards the cleric stops midway as he pulls back from the pain.
You want a real challenge? Hit somebody over here. And I'm going to have to roll another firebolt for the wizard.
So He
Lord.
misses the ogre. This time the firebolt striking the side of the tree as it begins to burst into flames.
The wizard moves a step back again. My bad.
Now the ground illuminated from the burning tree, sending bright light in all directions. The ranger sees the ogre clearly.
I dart in, jabbing directly for his knee.
Alright.
Oh god.
Damn, no
Whew.
advantage.
No advantage. No.
Again, it cannot pierce his hide as it just turns the blade aside.
I drop my rapier and whip out a dagger.
This thing's a piece of shit. Too flimsy.
The ogre lets out a stomp as the cleric looks on.
Gonna get a refund as soon as we get back to town.
Alright, I'm gonna strike him in the warhammer in the same spot I used my guiding bolt.
Okay.
Alright.
You hear a squish and a crunch as you hit into the same spot exactly, going almost into the ogre's body, dealing 8 points of bludgeoning damage as you hear yet another scream of pain and a crunch as something inside of its body breaks and it stumbles a bit from the pain.
Alright, and I end my turn, yeah.
The ogre, in one last fit of rage, swings its club wildly, once towards the warlock, and once towards the fighter. Both of them connecting solidly. Wait, what was your AC? 21?
21.
21. Oh man. The first one
He's
connects
gonna
with
be
the
hurt.
warlock. The second one, the fighter dodges as the wild swing misses by inches. You hear the swish as the air is pushed aside. Then the warlock takes 17 points of bludgeoning damage.
He takes 10 points of cold damage for breaking the armor of Agathis, because I still have my temp HP up.
As his warhammer slams into you, a small ray of frost splashes out onto his club. The club itself starts to freeze, and it climbs its way up the great club, and it reaches the ogre's hand, slowly freezing up his hand and going across his body. After a few seconds, his entire body is encased in ice, and he falls backwards.
Well, I'll be totally honest. I've never seen anyone kill an ogre just by having them hit him.
I still had my Hellish Rebuke to deal damage too.
No. I'm gonna stand there looking at the ogre sickle. I'm gonna look to the cleric. Cleric, smash his fucking head in!
With pleasure.
With a few swipes of your great hammer, the thing that was once the ogre's head now lays in a pool of blood on the ground, as well as shards of ice surrounding.
I'll begin picking up the various things that I dropped.
Okay.
Would you mind passing me one of those berries, good cleric? And you could do with a few yourself.
Yeah, have some. I give the fighter half.
Okay.
I'm gonna stand there thinking, something's not quite right about this.
Why was a dragon cohorting with an ogre and orcs?
I can answer that one.
Oh?
He wanted the castle for himself. He was just using them as a means to an end.
So that runt was the mastermind behind this attack?
Yeah, I know. Odd, isn't it?
That doesn't seem quite right.
Actually,
Even though he's young.
can I use a prayer of healing on everyone now?
Oh, sure, yeah. That would take 10 minutes of your time.
Yeah, sure.
When I see dragons, I think hordes.
I say, tapping my nose.
Alright, so that's a 2d8 plus your spellcasting modifier for everybody, correct? You raise up your holy symbol, And after a few minutes of chanting, a holy light surrounds you and all of your companions. How much damage do they restore?
Oh, I'm topped off.
12 points of
I'm
healing
topped
to all of your allies
Now,
as the light approaches their wounds. Sorry, you go ahead.
now, if there was a dragon here, that means there must be something special he was protecting.
Is anyone still injured?
I'll check these tents here to the north.
And I'll check
I'll,
the tent he came out of.
I'll get up on the watchtower and have my bow ready.
Now look inside the tent. You see mainly cobbled together suits of cobbled together armor and jagged great axes, long swords, great swords, all of that. And you find a total of small gems looking throughout the tents worth a total of 120 gold pieces.
I checked the south. What is that building near the south wall? Is that another watchtower?
That one is more of a storage. There's more cobbled together weapons, armor, stuff like that. And inside the tent, partially collapsed from where the ogre hit it, you do see a small, almost makeshift hoard that the dragon must have been protecting. And that amounts to a total of 300 gold pieces. Along with a small glint in the moonlight, as you see a long sword with elven markings on it along the bottom of the pile.
I'm gonna pick it up.
You do that. You don't notice any effects immediately. Now the question is, why did this dragon want the town, if nothing else but greed? How did it get the orc hordes on its side? Did it get the orc hordes on its side? Or is there something else going on around here?
I don't know, but I'm thinking that maybe that's not the only dragon around.
True. It was rather
Possibility.
small for a dragon.
But might be working for a bigger dragon?
No, dragons are too solitary to do that.
We should report our victory to the king.
True.
I'm sure he'll have many fine rewards.
Might have something better for us.
Oh, I've got plenty right now. Just has the sword in hand.
Looks like your scrounging was better than mine.
I didn't even
Of
found
course, a
anything.
dragon will always protect the horde.
Making your way back to where you left the king with this small entourage of guards. That is where we will end the one shot as he approaches your group. That was a good job, everybody.
That was
Right on,
very
guys.
fun.
Yeah, that was great.
Hell yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording now.